I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
Guys, welcome back. Oops Podcast. Giulio Gallerati, joined by my very fit, very strong, very intelligent, very talented co-host Ryan Lynch.
Thank you.
Hello, Lynch.
How are you?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. It's the big week.
It's a big week for me. Marriage on the horizon. I am in the midst of hypochondria. I am worried that I'm going to get sick and ruin everything, which is such a pointless feeling. And it's like very much a self-fulfilling prophecy. It makes you tired. It makes you stressed. I'm like actually not feeling 100% currently, but I'm not sick in any way, if that makes sense. Like I didn't wake up feeling sick. I just have kind of like, but like there's no feeling beyond that. That's uncomfortable. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to like preemptively medicate. I got a flu shot earlier in the week.
Okay, so that's a big part of it.
I don't usually feel symptoms from the flu shot.
Okay.
But thank you. But it can happen.
I'm letting out an olive branch.
It can happen, and that's helpful. And at the end of the day, if I were to be sick, I would just be at the wedding anyway and do it. So like, what's the point of worrying about it? You know? But still, I'm worried about it.
You've got time. You still have plenty of time.
I have time. As we record this, it is 3. It's like 3 evenings before the evening of the wedding.
3 evenings before.
So which actually means 4 days. So I have time to like, even if I were to not be feeling well, which I don't even know if I'm feeling well or not. I'm not feeling well enough to know for sure that I'm not feeling badly. Or I don't even, this is becoming very complicated.
Oh no, Giulio.
But I'm like 75%. I feel fine. I was never sick. I'm not like recovering from actually being sick. So, yeah.
Also, it just started to get fall weather-wise.
Yes,
like,
true.
Just like
True.
that. It was 80 degrees last weekend.
True. And there was a fire over the weekend in Prospect Park that like fucked up the air really bad.
Yeah. And New Jersey a couple days before, and that wind blew that all into Brooklyn.
So yeah, breathing that in all weekend wasn't great.
Yeah.
All that shit. I'm fine. It's going to be great. That's pretty much it.
I feel like we have to do like a manifestation, like spa.
All right. I know. I went to infrared sauna yesterday.
Yeah.
And guess what I did while I was at the infrared sauna? I subscribed to my channel and our channel. I then liked a bunch of all of our videos. Fair game.
That seems like a good thing to do when you got a minute.
Fair game.
Just like open up the apps and like.
No. But on their TV.
Oh.
Yeah. So I used they are logged into YouTube. So if you go to a good infrared sauna place, there'll be like a TV that you can watch while you're in the sauna. And yeah, they happen to be logged in. So I subscribed and liked a bunch of stuff.
If you're at an Airbnb and they have an Amazon Fire Stick plugged in and they're actually generous and are going to give you services that you can consume media from, maybe pop a subscription button over on the remote control on the Roku for Giulio.
Yeah. Or how about you use your own account also, guys?
After you do your own account.
After you use your own account, go on a big spamming campaign to spread us like a virus. Oops Podcast and Giulio's YouTube channel and Ryan.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
That'd be
Grab the shitty plastic remote that doesn't have the back lid for the batteries and make your way over to the subscription selection button and just tap it.
That remote is so shitty. It seems like a remote that's part of a children's toy set that doesn't actually work.
Something in the facade at a North Korean electronics store.
Yeah, dude. Like very cheap. Very light and very cheap.
Yeah.
So anyway, dude, you see the state of my apartment currently. It's filled with welcome bags. It's filled with shit. It's funny to get a pulse on how your friends behave during a wedding. And I go back and forth as to thinking whether or not their behavior is normal or whether they're being annoying. So one of the things that people aren't doing, people are like not booking hotels. So if there are people who are coming from out of town, and we want to know what they're saying so we can bring their stuff for them, people are just like not doing it.
They're making their plans last minute.
I guess, which is fine, I guess. Yeah, like you can't micromanage people's process. And to some degree, it's like annoying too. It's like, I don't know. I don't know, actually, Lynch. I can't decide whether or not I'm annoyed by it or whether or not why do I expect this person if they just won't get a fucking welcome bag. Who cares? You know what I mean?
It's probably because you put some effort into carefully orchestrating a very thoughtful, personalized welcome bag.
Right.
And so to just not be able, the two of you, to not be able to give it to someone that has a little bit of a sting to it.
Right. In theory, just like do what you have to do so that we can give you all the stuff.
Like now we have things to give you. Like we have some great thank you favors to give you.
Things to give.
Let us give them.
Let us give them.
I get that.
And I'll go to somebody's wedding and I can tell when the groom or the bride are like really impressed with themselves by this one thing they thought of. And like nobody notices. It's the same as like when you do an edit you really love. You're like, oh, look at that shot. And like nobody watching notices. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to remember not to like be too much like that. There are a lot of really nice touches that I think people are going to like. I'm not going to spoil the surprise since Lynch will be in attendance.
Nice.
And yeah, dude, I mean, this is another like big milestone chapter in the pod and everybody's lives. This pod, we've been doing it for years now. Many different iterations. We all went to Francis's wedding. It was me, Francis, and Chris. Then it was me, Francis, Chris, and Ryan. We were at a network. We were at another network. Now we're independent again. Now Lynch and Gallerati are the last two men standing. We'll be at this wedding. All the boys will be there.
All right. Well, then, what are you most excited about? Without any spoilers, I know you're keeping things inside the bag. Or what's something that you're looking forward to about the day?
I mean, everything other than that. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be great. I mean, there's things about it that are, they're like, are you nervous? And that question can mean so many different things. You know what I mean? And I don't know if you felt this way when you proposed. When people are like, are you nervous? My mind always goes to, am I nervous about the fact that I'm there's no turning back from this? But I think there's other things to take into account.
Mm-hmm. Are you nervous that she'll say no? Are you nervous about managing everybody?
Right, the execution.
And shepherding people like sheep to wherever they need to be?
Uh-huh.
Are you nervous about tough conversations with people that have different expectations for how a wedding should or shouldn't be? Mm-hmm. There's a lot that comes with it.
Yeah.
But I think in the moment when they say, are you nervous? It's probably like, are you ready for this next chapter?
Right.
There's no going back.
Right.
And also, are you just nervous about how long of a day it's going to be?
Right.
So I know happy or bad or good, you're going to be exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a 12-hour shift of a day.
Right.
Of love and fun.
Of love and fun.
But you will be tired nonetheless.
Right. Yeah. So I guess if are you nervous, some of the things that come to mind for me is like, it feels very vulnerable to like be doing this in front of so many people. Mm-hmm. And especially because like I have a lot of my friendships pretty compartmentalized where like they're almost like in different worlds where like these people are never like in the same place together, which is fine. Like I think that a lot of these people could commingle. That's not the problem. It's more of like, how am I adjusting in these different groups of people? Mm-hmm. And now how like is that surprising to anybody? Is this all surprising to anybody? You know what I mean? And is that off-putting? And is that, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like it's impossible to have an event like this and not subject yourself to some judgment. You know what I mean? I'm used to it in my work life. I go up there, I perform. There's somebody in the room who walks out of that show every time being like, that sucked, or that guy sucks, or I didn't think that was funny, or whatever. You know what I mean? There's no chance, unless it's a 4-person audience, and maybe you killed for all 4 of them.
Or they all hated you.
If you're performing for 200 people, dude, yeah, or they all hated you. If you're performing for 200 people, like one of those people doesn't like you. It's likely. You know what I mean? Even I'll talk to people who went to see Chappelle at Radio City, and they'll be like, and I'm like, all right, dude. You know what I mean? So like, I'm used to that. But for some reason, this feels different. You know? Mm-hmm. This feels more, I have to say these vows in front of people, which I've written myself. And the same way with like a joke. It's not, and this is obviously not a joke, but like the same way with like a joke where you're like, you think you know how it's going to sound when you say it, but you don't know till you say it. You don't get to do this here. You don't get to do that here. Now this is different because it's not intended to be funny. It's not a timing thing. It's not, you know what I mean? But still, you have to say these like serious things. And so for me, it's like balancing like being personal and sentimental without sort of lifting the veil too much, because certain things need to be private. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether it's like silly little things or cute little things or whatever. I don't want every single thing to be out there. And I also don't like the idea of like getting emotional in front of people. So like, I hope that I don't.
Well, that's the odd and unique thing about the weddings is that you're having an intimate, private moment in front of an
In
audience.
front of everybody you know.
Yeah.
And some of these people I know are like very just critical people. You know what I mean? Like classic New York City bullshit. Like they're going to have thoughts about the format, about the this, about the that, about whatever. And down to every detail. Everybody turns into a critic at weddings. It's almost as if it's like your job was to critique the wedding. And you think about it and you keep score and you're like, the one thing I would change, every single person, as if they're a wedding planner. So, you know.
I do that. Everyone does that.
Everyone does that. I do too.
Yeah.
So anyway, you know, maybe the lesson here is live a more judgment-free life of others, and you yourself will not feel as if you are being judged.
Yeah. At the top of that, you mentioned that you might be a little anxious about like 4 different sectors of friend groups coexisting with each other. I think that unless you're dealing with like the Greasers versus what's the West Side Story?
The Jets versus the Sharks.
Yeah, as long as your friend groups aren't half Jets, half Sharks, I think everyone's gonna get along real fine.
Yeah, no, and I agreed. And I think, you know, I alluded to that a little bit where it's like, I'm not worried about them intermingling or like commingling. I'm not even worried about this, but I'm thinking about me and how I will have the inability to sort of like shift in any way to sort of like make things good. You know what I mean? I sort of have that quality, for better or for worse, where like if I arrive in a social situation, I'm like, what do I have to do so that not only does everyone like me, but that everybody has a good time, even though I'm not responsible for that? How do I facilitate everybody feeling good while I'm around? You know what I mean? Which I don't think there's any possible way for me to do that on this scale. The other thing I'm afraid of is sort of revealing where people stand in my hierarchy of like who's important to me. Does that make sense?
What, with like groomsmen?
No, I'm not even doing groomsmen. In the like, people, like, are there people who are going to be there who think that we're like better friends than the wedding will reflect? This is part of why I didn't do groomsmen, to be honest.
Yeah.
But like, and again, like in a vacuum like this, and plus everybody knows that I'm not available. It's a wedding. I got to say hi to everybody. Nobody expects to monopolize my time. So maybe that's the saving grace there. You know what I mean? So, you know, these are not big concerns by any stretch of the imagination. And I am far more excited and, you know, everything than I am of any of the things that I'm thinking of or talking about. But it's true. It's just like things that have popped into my mind. And if there's anything that's giving me anxiety, it is some of these things.
I think every groom has had these thoughts.
Right.
I think this is just what you're just laying out the blueprint for how the 3 or 4 days of a wedding is going to go for the groom.
Yeah.
So I think it's fine. I think it'll be great.
Yeah.
It's just how it is. Like that, like those thoughts, they're just going to come until the day comes. You just focus on you. You can't, like, everyone's going to have fun.
Right.
You don't need to worry about entertaining or like scrutinizing, like, oh, like I didn't talk to that person long enough. I talked to that distant cousin who I don't even care about much longer than the friends that I didn't even get a chance to talk to yet. Not putting words in your mouth. But you don't need to have a clipboard and check things off and make sure that everything's perfect. There's going to be a flow.
Yeah, right.
You're going to have your chances. You'll have your intimate moments with people. Everyone's going to have a great day.
Yeah,
It's all good.
I'm confident of that too, Lynch. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, okay, so like format wise, this is what we're doing. We're changing it up a little bit. Have I talked about this on the pod, really?
Not on the podcast.
So first of all, I want to say very proud of Hill Dog. for being able to be so hands-on with all this and while still working a massive time-intensive job. I don't think it's something that anybody could do. And to see, like, it's hard for me to take certain people that I know seriously who act as if they're so busy and act as if they're so stressed, and like seeing what tiny percentage of what they're dealing with versus what a hill dog is dealing with. But this is why hill dog is, you know, a massive contributor to society in every way. And maybe some of these other people aren't. So it's like, they can sit there and bitch about it, but like, you know, hill dog gets to theoretically reap the benefits of her exceptionalism. So, you know, she's incredible. She's just absolutely crushing it. She's been on top of everything. And I just want her to be happy with it all. And I'm sure she's going to be. And I want her to just feel like as few regrets or I wish I would have done it like this or that as possible. I know that there's always a moment when you're having those thoughts where you step back and you're like, okay, why am I even micromanaging my thought process? Like, look at how incredible this is. Like, how lucky am I to be able to be doing this like this? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I think it's normal within that to still want things to go as smoothly as possible. You know what I mean? There's always hiccups, you know, so it'll hopefully just all be amazing. Because I always notice this too, dude. Sometimes, like, if the bride at a wedding gets like, you get the sense that she's like upset about something. You start to hear murmurs.
I've seen it.
I've seen it.
I've heard
We've all
it.
seen it. Things didn't go perfectly, or somebody like fucked something up. And I understand why it makes sense to be mad about that. It's like you paid a preposterous amount of money and now they can't even do that, right? Are you serious? Like, I would be pissed about that too. But like watching it from the outside, you're like, dude, it's not the point. Like, who cares about the crostini or whatever? You know what I mean? Not that that's, but anyway, so I just hope we don't have any of those moments too, where either of us like pick the wrong hill to die on. So when the actual event is happening, I'm going to try my best not to let any little tiny thing get under my skin. And to be honest, I'm actually not even allowed to have, not that I would have criticisms, but like I'm worried about other people's expectations. I don't really think I have the right to even, it's not like I did much. I did some things, but like compared to what Hillary's done, it's like comparing the president to the head of the social club, the local social club. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I literally did nothing. So there's no world where I would have any criticisms. I know that. And there are people who do nothing and then show up with criticisms. I've seen how ugly that is. I would never. I've made no suggestions. I've only done what's asked of me, and if someone asks my opinion, I'll give it. I don't just give it. Guys, this holiday season, I want to give a gift to my loved ones that makes them feel special and unique, just like the relationship that we share. That is why I'm giving everybody that I care about Storyworth.
Storyworth.
It is a great way to get to know your loved ones in a unique way. Here's how it works. Each week, Storyworth emails your loved ones a thought-provoking question that you get to help pick. Things like, you know, what's the bravest thing you've ever done? What's the farthest you've ever traveled? Or how did you used to get to school every day? You'd be amazed at what little sprinkles you can get out from asking these kind of questions. And Storyworth makes the writing process a breeze. All your loved one needs to do is respond to that email with a story. Long or short, doesn't matter. You'll be emailed a copy of your loved one's response as they're submitted over the course of a year, which is kind of like a fun little update where you get to know more about the people you care about, which is super cool. After a year of fun, Storyworth compiles your loved one's stories and photos into a beautiful keepsake hardcover book that you'll be able to share and revisit for generations to come. And I know that it's a great thing to add to any sort of decorative reading stack once I've already read it. A great thing to kind of like go back and connect with and read and cherish slowly over time so that you can really get to intimately know people that you love in a more specific way. It's super cool. Families love Storyworth, and that's why it has more than 35,000 five-star reviews on Trustpilot, with millions of stories preserved since they were founded over 10 years ago. With Storyworth, I'm giving those I love most a thoughtful, personal gift from the heart and preserving their memories and stories for years to come. Go to storyworth.com/oops and save $10 on your first purchase. That's storyworth.com/oops to save $10 on your first purchase. STORYWORTH.com/oops.
Spark something uncommon this holiday with just the right gift from Uncommon Goods. Here we are, Giulio, on the website. So many lovely things to choose from. I absolutely love all the options that Uncommon Goods has to offer. I think this one's pretty cool. Couples split bedding. It's literally 2 blankets that are attached at the very bottom so that you and your partner don't need to fight over who gets most of the blanket.
I like that one.
That's cute. It's everything on here is very cool. It's unique. You can get customizable stuff. You can just get some really cool stuff that your partner's going to love. It's different. It'll stand out. And most of all, it's meaningful. At least that's how I view it. I think it's really, really sweet to get them something a little outside of the box, a little outside of the ordinary. The Uncommon Goods catalog is just uncomparable.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in here. And a lot of the times it's like just really random, fun, funny takes on existing stuff.
Yes.
Like I'm looking at this ceramic jar for like holding eggs that is a chicken. So when you open the chicken, the eggs are inside the chicken and it's a good time. Everybody has fun. What about this duck family standing measuring spoons set? Love that.
Love that.
There's also this game where you have to try to get a video game controller out of a box. That is the game.
That's cool. They have time teaching elementary school watches in case you grew up digital.
Yeah.
In case you grew up digital, you can learn analog.
Yeah, there's really sort of like fun stuff. If there's somebody who you like don't know what to get them, where like you're not going to be able to get them something that's specifically for utility purposes, like there's so much stuff on here that is just like a fun gift. You know what I mean? Where like it can be funny, it can be fun. It obviously can be more specific and thoughtful as well. But Uncommon Goods is your one-stop shop for all gifts that might be uncommon otherwise.
Yes. So right now to get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/oops. That's uncommongoods.com/oops for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods. We are all out of the ordinary.
Back to the format. So we are doing any of the sort of like protocol driven things on Friday. Protocol, tradition, any of the stuff you got to get out of the way in quotation marks is happening Friday. The actual ceremony is the first thing that happens the whole weekend, basically, which is like a fun change. So there's that. Then all the pictures are happening right before that as well. So like family pictures, bride and groom pictures, blah, 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 pictures, schmictures. Done. And then there's like a dinner and like a hang, and it's like kind of like a reception-y thing, but it's not like lit like a party. And then that's it. And then the next day is just reception. So like, all the speeches are pretty much done Friday. There's like a couple on Saturday. And that is the way that it's all going to go. And it's an interesting and fun idea for a variety of reasons. But practically speaking, the amount of times where people go into Saturday to their wedding, and they're like hungover and they just like, I'm just going to rally through. They do their pictures. They do it. Like, why do that to yourself? You know what I mean?
How many people, my experience, I haven't seen or heard of many people being hungover on their wedding day. Have you?
Yeah.
So you've been to more than me, so that's interesting.
So I wouldn't even say like hungover, but like you have like most of the weddings that I've been to at this point, there's a Friday event, and I've ended up being part of that. I know that typically maybe more people are invited to Saturday who weren't invited to Friday, if Friday's the rehearsal dinner, you know what I mean? But Friday's a night. So whether maybe you pace yourself, okay, I'm not going to have 2. I'm only going to have a couple. But you've already gone through this like significant night with like tons of people. You're talking. You're pulled in this direction, that direction. You want to keep up appearances. It's like draining. So like whether or not people are hungover, there's still just like a big amount of energy required for it that makes Saturday seem more difficult. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that sort of is nice. That's one of the nice things about this format. I guess if there's any downside, I don't know. I don't know if there are any downsides that I can think of off the top of my head. So anyway, gonna be sick. Friday nights at the Bowery Hotel, Saturday nights at the Boom Boom Room, which if you guys don't know, have never heard of it, it's this like pretty iconic, sick nightlife spot in the city in New York, where it used to be like a place that you could go that was kind of like, you know, a tough place to get into or whatever. But I think now it's just for private events. Have you ever been there?
I don't know.
It's sick.
I may have.
It's sick, yeah.
I should just say no.
No, I mean,
And maybe I have.
you may have.
Maybe I have.
You may have.
I'm excited.
But yeah, dude, it's gonna be pretty sweet.
That's great, dude.
Yeah, I guess. I guess we can put a pin in wedding thoughts, and we'll talk a little more about it on the next episode. But what else is going on with you?
Okay, so I was walking down the street the other day. I was wearing new white sneakers, not a scuff in sight. I'm very careful when I wear them. I don't wear them in the rain. I take care of them. Somebody, is it called flat topping? What is it called when someone steps on the back of your heel?
Flat tire?
Somebody flat tired me, and these are leather sneakers, so they didn't necessarily, like, I didn't come out of the shoe, but
Random person flat tire.
random person flat tired me.
Crazy.
And I'm just curious, can you do something there?
I mean, no, because once that happens to you, you're going to turn around and be like, what the fuck? As long as the person's like, dude, I'm so sorry, then it's over. And I will also say this, micromanaging the state of one's sneakers is like potentially not the hill you want to be dying on, Lynch.
I think that's the hill I would die on.
This is like schoolyard fights. This is like, did you just step on my Jordans? It just like rings that.
You step on my loafers, dude?
Yeah, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Where like if you're gonna wear your sneakers in the wild, like they're gonna get worn down eventually. You can't micromanage their decay unless you want to put them in a trophy case or something. You know?
Yeah.
That makes you feel better. But
I
look,
get it. I
sucks.
get it. I just don't want bad stuff to happen to me.
Agreed. I just don't want bad stuff to happen to me. It's good. It's true. Yeah, no, it sucks though. Like I hate it too. Like if I have a crisp white pair of sneaks and they get fucked up somehow, or like I end up in a situation where I'm walking in dirt where I like didn't think I would be, like that sucks.
Yeah.
Also, when it snows, it didn't really snow last year, but when it snows and that like brown leftover salt ice snow is still there, and like your white sneakers are just absolutely fucked if you walk out the door with them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Concrete mud water.
Concrete frozen mud water.
Yeah. Oh, yo. Okay, so I posted a video about this by the time this episode comes out. But I was in your neighborhood last Friday, and Vic and I went to go get a donut at Peter Pan's.
Nice.
And it's a great donut spot. So we're walking there, and this is the worst thing ever happened to me. Ever. That could happen to any person in the world, happened to me. So we go to Peter Pan Donut, and we walk in. It's cash only. And so we didn't have any cash on us. So I'm like, oh, it's a TD Bank. Let me go to the ATMs. You get in line. Vic gets in line. I'm walking to the ATM, and I see this pigeon in the middle of the sidewalk, dead, tits up.
Oh.
Wasn't bloody.
Was it big?
Wings intact. It was like filled with air. Like it was very big.
It was freshly dead.
It was freshly dead. Like it just gave up. And no blood, wings intact, wasn't ran over, just a pigeon. Like a prop. It looked like a prop. It looked fake. It wasn't. And so I'm like, ew. And then I go to the ATM, I get the cash, I'm walking back, and I'm glued to my phone. And and like you can, if you're walking and looking at your phone, if you're a pro at it, you can use your peripherals to see people in front of you. You know you're not going to walk into them because you'll feel like a fucking idiot if you do. And you feel like the lowest form of societal, when that happens, slug. You feel like a waste of life to society. And they will view you as that if you bump into somebody while doing that. So I'm watching this video on Twitter, and of course it's serving me a video of a Komodo dragon swallowing a baby goat while it's still alive. I didn't search for it, but at this point, I'm seeing these videos all the time. All the time. And so the Komodo dragon goes to the baby goat, grabs it, and the goat's like, wah, wah, and just like slowly, because the Komodo dragon doesn't bite, he just swallows, and he's sucking him in, just like the flying thing from Nope. He's sucking him in.
What's Nope?
The Jordan Peele movie.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, that's not a spoiler, but
Okay.
he's just sucking him in, and then it's like, and as the goat is taking its last audible wah, my foot makes contact with this buoyant weight. I look up, and this pigeon is hobbling down the sidewalk. I squib kick this thing.
This is the dead pigeon?
This is the dead pigeon.
Is now alive.
No, it's dead.
Oh.
I squib kicked it like a football, 14 feet down the sidewalk.
God.
It lands beneath the feet of an innocent middle-aged woman.
Oh my God.
And she goes, oh!
Oh my God.
This woman's minding her business, dude. She's minding her fucking business. And I kick a pigeon in front of her, completely ruining her day. And I was devastated. My lack of awareness, that was not cool. That was a terrible thing to do. There were two other witnesses. They were just like, ugh. As in like, yo, like that was
Jesus
bad.
Christ.
Like that was instant put your phone in your pocket behavior. And my sneakers, like there's no blood on them, there's no guts on them, but like they are permanently tainted.
There's pigeon on them.
There's pigeon on them. And so I walk into Peter Pan Donut, like gagging. I was doing this. I'm a straight guy. I was doing this. I was like fluttering my hands.
Like the pigeon was
Like the
before
pigeon
it
wish
died.
it could have been if it knew I was coming. And I was like, thick. I just kicked a pigeon. And the guy standing behind her was like, oh yeah. Like he's like, oh yeah, that'll do it. And then I was explaining it to her. And then I kind of was like, piping back and forth between her and that guy because I thought he was interested, and eventually he was just like, "I don't stop talking to me," and
Jesus.
so
Hate to
I
see it,
did
dude.
that,
Hate to see
and
it.
I very well could have in my process of taking a stepped not through the pigeon, I could have stepped on it. And if I stepped on it with the full force of a step, thinking that you're going to land on the sidewalk, it would have popped.
It would have
It
exploded.
would have exploded.
It would have had to
the-
been such
the-
a direct hit, though, dude.
It was,
You were close to it, though.
the feeling, because I did it and then I didn't realize I did it till after I did it. So I remember doing it.
You might have gotten pigeon on your face in that scenario.
If I stepped
if you
on it?
stepped square on it and it exploded, pigeon may have gotten on your face. Pigeon guts.
It would have, like, dude, so much air. It would have exploded in every direction.
It's gross, dude.
Every direction. It would have gone like up my nostrils. It would have been like, my mouth was probably open because I was like, at the goat. Like it would have been in my mouth, in my hair. Would have ruined my nice hat I was wearing, my Siegelman stable hat at that. It was terrible. And then it would have gotten on all the innocent people.
Yeah, that would have been really
And that's
bad.
a long walk home.
That would have been really bad, dude. Just covered in pigeon. Yeah, dude.
It was
Fuck.
so, I mean, it could have been a lot worse, but it was disgusting. Watch where you're going.
Watch where you're walking, folks. Get off your phone.
Yeah.
Dude, it's funny you mentioned that. I walked by Peter Pan this morning after I was doing a couple errands, and I looked in the window to see if they had like any like non-donuts, and I saw the cash only sign, and I today years old when I learned that, and naturally, of course, you hear about it immediately after.
What?
That's how that phenomenon works. Like you hear about something for the first time, and then suddenly you're hearing about it constantly.
The concept of cash only?
No,
or the fact that place was
that
cash
specific
only?
place being cash only.
Yeah, that
news
does.
to me.
I wish there was a term for that.
There is.
What is it?
There's a couple of terms, but one of them is called like Bader Meinhof something.
Bader Meinhof.
Because that was this sort of like radical leftist group in the late 60s, I want to say. And the idea was like once you heard about them, you started suddenly hearing about them everywhere. So that's like, I guess, somehow where it came from. That's how they coined it. There's a couple words for it. There's a couple terms for it, though.
Interesting.
But it is a thing. Dude, speaking of which, there is a pizza place in the neighborhood now. You've heard about it, I'm assuming. This is a place that was like previously, I guess, a pop-up. People like loved it and would line up for it. But now they have their first brick and mortar location near where I live. And there is like at all times of day, like an hour plus line to get to order. Mm-hmm. And then you have to wait another, half hour for your pizza. It's like crazy. So I've kind of been walking by, and at all times of day, it's like this. It's open till 10, but they sell out by 7:00 every day. Yeah. And I was like, could this possibly be that good? Dude, I'm not kidding. We had it the other day, and Hillary and I were both like, this is the best pizza we've ever had.
Yeah.
Have you had it before?
I have not. Vic has.
She liked it?
She went with her friend a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
She loved it?
She loved it.
Dude, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's so good. Like in every way.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Like there's nuances that pizza seems fairly straightforward, even like done well versus done poorly. This takes it to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
This is like perfect.
I'm curious what the perception is of pizza to people that don't live in the East Coast. Because like New Haven, Connecticut and New York pizza arguably are the best two spots in the whole world for pizza, I would say.
That's a hot take, maybe, dude.
I think
what about
that's,
Italy?
Yeah, but I think at least in
Argument.
America,
you can make the argument.
Like with the Portnoy pizza review thing, and like with the consensus is that those are like prime pizza spots.
Totally.
I'm curious though, because like I've had food like all over the country. I'm like, oh, this is the best. Oh, this is the best. Like, how could you say that it's the best in one particular spot over the other? And like, I really think the pizza in the Northeast really stands out.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, it really is. So the only thing is that is still, I would say, like, pound for pound, like, concentration of good pizza. Like, it's hard to say that there's a place that's better than New York. Whereas, like, there's a ton of places you can go to get incredible pizza. But there are, like, a couple of these places popping up where, like, supposedly the best pizza is in Phoenix or something. You heard of that spot?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there are the outlier spots. And also, I think we've disproven the notion that it's impossible for good pizza to, like, travel because of environmental factors. Like, people in LA will be like, oh, it's because of the water. Because of the water, they can't. But, like, Joe's Pizza, which is a famous pizza place in New York that's amazing, has been fully replicated in LA, and it tastes exactly the same. So, like, while there does appear to be slightly more democratization of pizza across the country, it's hard to say that the Northeast doesn't have the best pizza. I would argue, like you said.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's fun to have, like, good spots. Like, it's one fun thing about living in this neighborhood. I mean, like, it's just all the best spots, man. Like, if you guys are from New York or you know about New York or whatever, like, I really find Manhattan to be super stale. It's, like, stagnant and stale. Like, it's just not cutting edge the way that it is here in Brooklyn.
Well, let the people that are stale enjoy it.
Yeah.
Let them enjoy paying an exuberant amount of money for so much less than what we pay for what we get over here in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Let them post their Instagram stories. Let them be sad when
But they don't know.
they go, I know, let them.
Okay, yeah.
Let
Lynch
them
is gatekeeping.
let them not know. I have my favorite pizza place in Brooklyn. I'm not gonna mention it
You're not mentioning that?
because the lines aren't out the door
Yet.
quite yet. And they will be. And when that day comes, damn it.
You're going to have to tell me off the air.
Just like everything. But until then, damn yeah.
What's the spot? And we'll cut it. Oh, yeah.
It's surprisingly not out the door like Chrissy's.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best pizza.
I got to check it out.
I got to tell you, when Vic ran the half marathon earlier this year, we wanted to treat everybody with some pies from. There was like a group of like 20 people. We got like 2 cheeses and we got 1 sauce. And Vic's dad was like one of the last people to get there. So by the time he got there was only sauce pie. And he, along with a few other people, were flabbergasted at the idea that someone would order a pizza without any cheese on it. And I went to bat because it was good. The good tomato slice.
What'd you say?
I was like, that's pizza. He's like, this isn't. He's like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, it's pizza. It's pizza. It's pizza, Richard.
It's
pizza.
people for people. It's pizza for people like me,
It's
Richard.
That's a good tagline.
Handicap accessible.
Yeah, it's pizza. No, it's pizza. Yeah, with the garlic crumble on it instead of cheese, that's pizza. So
Fucking Lynch.
it was good.
Unbelievable. All right. Well, dude, good luck out there with the pie. Good luck out there in the bike lanes. Good luck to me up there on the altar.
Watch your step.
Watch your step, kid. Come check us out December 13th. We're going to be in Stamford, Connecticut at New York Comedy Club Stamford, me and Lynchy Pie. It's a Friday night show. I believe it is at 7 o'clock. Tickets on my website, notjulio.com. We'd love to see you guys there. I think it should be pretty good from an attendance perspective, nice and packed. So get your tickets now. I'm also adding some dates for the new year. I'm hoping to lock down this Alaska gig.
Where?
In the Anchorage area. It should be the end of January. We're figuring it out still, so I don't know for sure. I'm also going to have Charlotte and DC coming sort of in the late spring, and we'll definitely have some dates coming in the winter and spring as well. So keep you posted on all that. NotJulio.com for tickets. Follow us at NotJulio, at NotJulioG on Snapchat and TikTok at Oops Podcast, oopspodcast at gmail.com. He is at Ryan Is Really Play. You got any shows that you want to plug?
Yeah, thanks to everybody that came to Jersey City last week. That was a lot of fun. And then, I'll be with Giulio on the 13th of December. And then on December 5th in the Lower East Side, I'll also be performing. So please check my Instagram at Ryan Is Really Polite for all show details, clips. And once again, email us at oopsthepodcast at gmail.com with anything. Any questions for the comment section?
Tell us what your favorite pizza spot is.
Unless it's in, okay.
Regardless of where it is.
Yeah.
And we won't shit on you, don't worry.
And if it's in Brooklyn, say it's not in Brooklyn. I'd appreciate that. All right, take care.
Gatekeep Brooklyn. Bye-bye.